Please show us what truly makes him special.
Well, there's a number of things. And one of the things that I respect about him the most is we have not had very, very fast players. I'm talking about track speed, Olympic speed, that have been able to play wide receiver consistency where they could be a number one wide receiver. And Tyreek Hill has a bunch of talent, but these are some of the things that I like. Let's go back to the divisional round against the Chiefs. This right here, 2nd down and 10, there's landmarks as a wide receiver that you have to be able to get to. Buffalo Bills are in 2-man. They're running 3 verticals on the top side, and Tyreek Hill's on the backside of 3-by-1. He's got a 12-yard break. Now, he's got to get the 10 to 12 yards on the near hash. Watch him. Most track guys don't have the discipline. Even in 2-man, he breaks across Levi's face and is able to, now this is when the party starts. He's one of the best open field runners. He's the number 1 big play guy that we have in the NFL. And this right here is something we've never seen. Besides Deion Sanders running with the football, he's the fastest guy that I've ever seen in NFL history. Let's take another look. Snaps off the in route when they're in 2-man. Face freezes the safety. And good night. Peace to the homies out there. Let's go to play number 2, also in the wild card round against the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're the 3-by-1, but he's the second guy. There's landmarks as a wide receiver. If I'm running the fade from the slot, I have to be 30 yards and 2 yards from the sideline. Watch how he works the technique. Looks at the defensive back, shakes him inside. Most wide receivers would try to go outside. Very, very smart. Shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. Watch my guy. Patrick Mahomes puts it where? Freeze it right there. 30 and 2 to 4 on the sideline. Textbook. There's landmarks as a wide receiver that you have to be able to get to, and most guys can't do it. Now, this is how exceptional he is. Let's put him back on a punt. Now, the Bengals this weekend, they have a pretty good team. They're top 15 in the league, but he's the best open field runner. This is another opportunity for Andy Reid to put the ball in his playmaker's hands. Watch this. Your coaches typically tell you if there's a guy left and a guy to the right, split them. He's no fool. Oh, no, I can't go into that. I hit the spin button on Madden.
That's amazing.
That's really cool.
This is the worst part about this film because the next day, his boys are giving him
the punter.
Yeah, the punter tackle. Yeah, so he does have limitations. Let's go 3rd and 6. We love Cooper Kupp. We talked about the love of the game route. There's other wide receivers that are number 1s that are also doing this. Tyreek Hill, he's the number 2. Unless they open up the middle of the field, he has 0 probability of getting this ball. So he has the love of the game route. I got to use this speed to be able to clear out one of these areas for one of my teammates and for Patrick Mahomes to be able to find some space to be able to make a big play. Patrick Mahomes is not injured anymore. Tyreek Hill is going to always get a lot of attention. He takes 2 here.
Wow.
So Patrick Mahomes, watch how this field opens up with Tyreek Hill running a decoy route.
Go for 30 yards,
full speed.
Patrick.
Young wide receivers, if you're out there and you have the love of the game route, get on your dang on horse and clear it up because your quarterback might be able to make some yards like that, or you might be able to make a play like Cooper Kupp. Now, this was the backbreaker right here. In overtime, they motion Kelsey in just so they can see what coverage. They're playing quarters coverage. That means Tyreek Hill, when he's on the outside, if he runs anything towards the middle, they're going to double team him. Patrick Mahomes sees that. He's the decoy right here, Tyreek Hill. He takes 2. Kelsey going to give him a little pump fake. He's going to run the wheel. And Milano, I hate to do it to you, bruh.
We always do it.
I hate to do it to you.
Poor Milano.
But this is against the law. Not only the route, not only the combination, but the throw. Patrick Mahomes, where he puts it.
That's illegal?
So Tyreek Hill and what Kansas City's doing, Andy Reid and this coaching staff, to utilize his skill set. He's just not a deep threat. He is an accomplished route runner. He has elite hands and just the ultimate playmaker if you put him back in the return game.
What do you guys think?
What do you think, Chris? Bengals coaches call you today. Give us 5 minutes. What should we do? What should we do to restrict this guy? How do we contain him? What would you advise?
This is the thing. You can't come up on a guy and be close to him and bump and run and not touch him. Every one of those films right there, and I went back and watched everything, they did not put one hand on him. Belichick is the best. When they were going against the Colts, Marvin Harrison, those guys, what'd they do? You got to get physical at the line of scrimmage because it makes Patrick Mahomes think and hold the football. If they're not going to bump them, let them play 8 to 9 yards off and do like they were doing with the Chiefs the first 2 months of the season and making them slowly go down the field. That would be my advice.
You know, when Kyler Murray was tearing up the league earlier this season, I would talk to a lot of different coaches, and it was like the problem is you got to worry about Hopkins. So you got 2 guys on Hopkins, and then when you just dedicate 2 guys to Hopkins, Kyler has just another open space. And once Hopkins got hurt, Tyreek Hill, that run that you showed of Mahomes, demanding 2 defenders to cover him 60 yards downfield.
Yes.
Now you're playing 10 on 8. And it's Mahomes can look, and he ran for 30 yards. And I'm watching at home, not seeing the game tape, not seeing the coach's tape, and I'm watching at home, and I'm like, where are the Bills defenders? Where are the linemen? They're 60 yards deep because you got to worry about Hill. I think it's such a weapon, and it's part of the reason Mahomes has been so good with his legs is because Tyreek takes so much attention deep downfield.
Yeah, the best wide receiver coaches, they tell wide receivers, even if you think you're a number 1, how can you impact the game and the ball's not in your hand? And that's what some of those tapes are able to see. As a decoy, you can have just as much impact on the outcome of the game as you can when I have the rock in my hand.
So he mentioned DeAndre Hopkins. You were here in October. You made a list of active wide receivers that you believe are destined for the Hall of Fame. Hopkins was on the list, Antonio Brown, Mike Evans, Devontae, and Julio. You just went over how unique Tyreek Hill is, what a weapon he is, clutch plays and clutch moments. What does he have to do to work his way onto that conversation and onto that list for you?
Longevity and consistency. He's turned himself into an elite wide receiver. And Kansas City, if they get a couple Super Bowl rings, that's how you get multiple players in the Hall. If they continue for the annual game in Kansas City, what do you call it?
The Arrowhead Invitational.
The Arrowhead Invitational. That right there. If they continue that, playing with Patrick Mahomes, don't get greedy about the money. Travis Kelce, you got to build longevity, bruh, and consistency, and he's going to get fitted. I don't know what it is. Maybe a 40 short. But we'll get him outfitted with Hager, though. He's definitely on his way.